Welcome on board Icelandair's first flight in more than 2 years. You'll see the party, meet the airline's CEO, experience 6 hours in Icelandair's business class on a 737 MAX, and a whole lot more. Hello, jet setters. I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. Right now I'm in Reykjavik. I'm about to fly with Icelandair on their first ever flight to Raleigh, North Carolina, my home state. Join me as we check out this service together. Like most people in the US, I don't live in a city with an international hub airport. So Icelandair adding this flight to an airport a mere hour from my home opens up the world. I'm so excited to experience this route. Today's flight will take 6 hours and 11 minutes to travel 3,016 miles. We'll climb as high as 38,000 feet. Naturally, I'm so excited I got here too early. Check-in doesn't start for a while, so I'm just hanging out actually working on another video you would have seen already. It's already been published, the United Inaugural flight to Oman. If you haven't, I'll post a link to it. But now I'm just waiting to check in. The airport is very easy to navigate, and it's dominated right now by Icelandair. I couldn't get enough of their route map here. It shows one of the most interesting quirks of Iceland's unique position on the planet. The flight to Seattle, Washington, on the west coast of the US, is only 600 miles longer than our flight to Raleigh. Once check-in opened a little after 1 in the afternoon, I was through the Saga Business Class line in no time. Checked in and ready to check out the Saga Lounge, so let's head up there and see what that's all about. A business class ticket also grants access to Icelandair's dedicated fast-track security. The airport's atrium is a really cool space. There, you'll find plenty of dining, drinking, and shopping options. Also on the other side of security, but before passport control, you'll find the Saga Lounge here in Keflavik. It's a really incredible space. The airline puts on display that uniquely Icelandic aesthetic in a way that means passengers can't help but know where they are in the world. I particularly liked this wall, highlighting Icelandic aviation history. And the views were nice, but complicated by the design of the windows, which include small lines that, of course, help lower the cost to heat and cool the airport. I was excited to see the arrival of the 737 MAX 8 from Glasgow. It will be the airplane that launches Icelandair's service to Raleigh later today. And speaking of that service, I figured the arrival of our airplane signaled a good time to head back downstairs. There, I was able to get a new perspective on more of Icelandair's fleet. They operate 737s, including the MAX, like we'll be on today, along with 757s and 767s like this one. They also have some Dash 8 turboprops, which they primarily use on domestic flights. But I couldn't just spot planes all day. I got an email yesterday saying there's a party at the gate, so it's time to pass through passport control and check it out. And sure enough, there was a party beside our gate, D15. There were decorations, and little snacks, even champagne. Cheers. When I saw the CEO of Icelandair, I told him about this channel and asked if he'd like to chat for a bit. He kindly agreed. It's a great honor to spend a little time with you here. So I'd love to know what North Carolina means to your airline.
It means a lot, especially we have been in 2 years in the COVID situation. So this is our first flight for 2 years. Yeah, we see it's an upcoming area, many people moving to that area, and we just see a lot of opportunities. Both for Icelanders going there, interesting state, and also for people in that state to visit Iceland. And then we offer also very smooth and easy connections to 25 destinations via Iceland.
Well, I can certainly attest to that. This has been an absolutely spectacular airport experience. Keflavik is a fantastic airport to travel through, so I highly recommend it. But thank you for your time, and I'm so excited about being on this trip.
Welcome to Icelandair.
Thank you. And just like that, boarding began. This is always such an exciting moment in a flight. I think boarding is almost better than taking off and departing. Anyway, Icelandair's cabin design is understated, but the Saga, or business class cabin, looks a lot like standard domestic first class in the United States. Our seats included an amenity kit, which we'll explore a bit later, a pillow, a blanket, and a bottle of water. There's a nice-sized screen in front of you, a headphone jack, and a universal plug. You'll have plenty of space to store a carry-on bag under here, and there are even footrests, which could be nice if you're flying overnight. The tray table is in the armrest, and there's even a coat hook, a useful addition given Iceland's climate.
Dear passengers, welcome aboard this first scheduled Icelandair flight to Raleigh, Europe. The flight time today, 6 hours. We can expect smooth flight most of the way, however, we do recommend use of seatbelts while.
We turned westward to begin Icelandair's first journey to the great state of North Carolina. Saga Business Class passengers can borrow these noise-canceling headphones during their trip. That said, I always bring my own headphones and recommend you do the same. The standard-sized tray table was sturdy and useful throughout the trip. And Icelandair's Inflight Entertainment is, well, somewhat limited. There's not a lot to choose from here, but I was glad to see the map. Internet access was available, and it cost €10 for the entire 6-hour flight. Not a bad price, really. It wasn't very fast, but was great for keeping up with emails and other basic tasks. The amenity kit was fairly basic, but my favorite element were the stickers that allow you to sleep, but also share your preferences with the cabin crew. Inaugural flights are, of course, different from a standard trip, and what this crew did was to space out the celebrations throughout the journey. In fact, before they took our drinks orders, every passenger on board received this bag, which contained another massive bag of Icelandic candy. And how cool is this treasure? Then, flight attendants provided menus, which were quite robust, particularly in terms of the number of different kinds of drinks that were on offer. But the food also looked pretty appealing. I ordered a gin and tonic, which featured Icelandic gin. It was accompanied with spicy and flavorful crackers. Lunch arrived as we crossed over Greenland, another place high on my bucket list. In addition to bread, the tray had a starter, which was scallops and a shrimp salad. We also had a choice of a main course. I chose the short ribs. It was fairly standard business class fare, and I was certainly not hungry after I'd cleaned my plate, though. Our flight was fairly empty, so after lunch I headed back to the economy cabin where I was able to check out the seats. It's not unusual to see such a low load factor on a flight like this. Both Icelandair and the Raleigh-Durham International Airport are seeing positive trends for this flight moving forward. Each economy seat offers a substantial screen and a USB charging port. The 17-inch wide seats give you about 32 inches of pitch, and the tray table is sturdy. Back in Saga Business Class, you'll have 40 inches of pitch and 20-inch wide seats. The sea ice was absolutely mesmerizing. I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. It just looked so beautiful, shining in the sunlight. A couple of hours later, as we crossed the St. Lawrence River, we received ice cream bars. And I thought that was the last meal on the flight. But as we approached Manhattan, another final meal was offered. These open-faced sandwiches were as nice as nearly any westbound transatlantic pre-landing snack. And then, we still weren't done. They brought around chocolate-covered strawberries. That was a really welcome finish. But believe it or not, our approach began shortly after we passed New York. So that means it's time for the JebScore. We'll rate the lounge, the seat, the food, the in-flight entertainment, and the service in an unscientific 5-star system. First, the lounge was great. a fairly standard business class lounge in terms of what was on offer, but the aesthetics were so nice. Really enjoyed the comfortable seating and the look and feel of the place. 4 stars here. The seat was fairly standard and is almost identical to what you'll find in just about any U.S. carrier's domestic first-class cabin. It's not trying to be a lie-flat seat, but these can be long flights. That's worth 3 stars. The food was really nice. Better, in fact, than I expected. Much better, really. 5 stars here. The IFE was a bit lacking. It's just not got a lot of choice, and I think that could make sense for a lot of Icelandair's route network. They're fairly short flights. But this one was pretty long. 2 stars here. Finally, I've come to expect extraordinary service on inaugural flights, and the fact that the CEO was on board with us seemed to have solidified that result for Icelandair. No questions asked, 5-star crew. So that leaves Icelandair's inaugural flight from Keflavik to Raleigh with 19 out of a possible 25 stars. Between now and the next time, see you in the sky.